So this is fluid flow. Fluids, the study of fluids at rest is called hydrostatics. Study of fluids in motion is called hydrodynamics. So in that hydrodynamics topic, we are going to discuss about fluid flow. We know that water always flows from point A to point B if there is a slope. This slope we generally, if you take this one, this is height h1 and this is, let us say, this is on the surface of earth, or let us say this is the earth surface. So from the earth this is h1, this is h2. Whenever there is a height difference, then fluid can flow easily from one point to another point. Similarly, for the flow of current, you might have studied about potential difference in 10th class. The potential difference exists between 2 points, then current will flow from high potential to low potential. Now, so this is a potential difference. Similarly, now if you consider this fluid flow, fluid always flows from one point to another point if there exists a height difference. Now, why fluid flows when there exists a height difference? Why fluid cannot flow from P to Q if it is along a straight line? Now, if you keep some fluid here, this fluid may not flow from here to here if there is no height difference. But fluid can flow easily when there is a height difference. So what is the reason behind this one? Reason being, here, if you keep some water here, this water generally stays there only, or it will flow a little bit on all possible sides to a little distance. But if the same amount of water when kept on inclined plane, then the entire water will flow from top to bottom. Reason is, here, let us say this is a water drop whose weight is mg. So if this water drop is moving in this direction, if it has to move in this direction, what are the forces acting on this water drop? Now this is the surface. On the surface weight is acting, and the surface will be equal and opposite. This is called a normal reaction. When these two are equal, the net force on this water drop will be 0. So F net is 0. So that's why water drop neither moves upwards nor move downwards, because the net force along y-axis will be 0. What are the forces acting on this water drop? Here, no other force other than this weight and normal reaction. No forces are acting on this water drop. So water drop will stays there only. But the height of the water drop will decrease and it may spread like this. So spreading is possible because of the absence of the vertical forces in this one, horizontal forces in this one. So force only acts perpendicularly but not parallel to the surface. So that's why this will gain this type of structure here. Now, if the same water drop is kept somewhere here, so what are the forces acting on this water drop now? This is mg. Let us say this is inclined at an angle theta. This will be mg cos theta. This is mg sin theta. This is normal reaction R. So what are the forces acting on this body? One is, this is, we know this is the driving force. Already we studied this in laws of motion. So here this water drop will travel or flow from this point to this point because of this force, whereas this force here is 0. Why? Because if it is mg, this angle is 90, this is mg cos 90. Cos 90 is 0, that's why this will be 0. So no driving force in the horizontal direction, but here there is a driving force which is the component of weight of this water drop only. So that's why it travels along this direction. So now what is the reason behind the fluid flow? That is a component of weight of fluid molecule will give the driving force for this liquid drop or water drop to flow in this direction. That means when it is here, it will have that driving force. That's why it moves in the direction of the driving force and reaches that point. Flowing from point 1 to point 2. So this is the direction along which the fluid is flowing. So the fluid flow can be divided into two types. The first one is streamline flow. The second one is a turbulent flow. What is this streamline flow? What is this turbulent flow? So let me explain in detail. Streamline flow, now let me take a pipe here. This is the pipe and the fluid is flowing in this direction. These are the fluid molecules. These are flowing like this. Here if you observe this one, they have order arrangement as well as they are moving in a straight lines. The fluid is flowing along a straight line. Now you take one more pipe. Here the fluid is flowing like this. So this is called a turbulent flow. If you observe these two diagrams, it is clear that in this pipe the fluid is flowing in an orderly manner, whereas in this there is no orderly movement of the molecule. So the first difference between these two is this is a orderly movement. Here no order, the first one. Second one, it is found that if you take any point in this flow, now let me take one line here. So at this point, let me take this point as P1. Let us say this molecule is traveling with a velocity of 10 meter per second. What would be the velocity of the next particle that is crossing this point? Even this will travel with same 10 meter per second. The next particle which is crossing this point, that means all the particles that are crossing this point will have the same velocity. That is called streamline flow. So the main difference between this and this is first one order, second one the velocity or the speed of the particles. Velocity is constant at a given point, but here velocity changes from time to time. At a given point. At the same point, for example, let me take this particle is crossing this line with velocity 10 meter per second, this one. The next one which is coming from somewhere either in this direction or in this direction will cross this one with 12 meter per second, and one more particle which is crossing here may have 6 meter per second and the other one may have 3 or 4 meter per second, and the next one which is crossing here may have 92 meter per second. That means this is the meaning of this one. Velocity changes from time to time at a given point. So this is called turbulent flow. Now you might have seen these floods in Kerala as well as in Karnataka, and you might have seen some cars are floating on water. So nowadays we are seeing that type of videos only in WhatsApp or in Facebook, even in TV also. So there you can see the water, the flow of water. See this one, if the water is flowing like this at a particular place, see this one, the spacing between the streamlines, these lines are called streamline of flow. So this spacing, this is the line that represents the flow of water. This is one more line that represents the flow of water. This is one more line. If you take these lines while flowing from one place to another place, they maintain the space between them equally. So in a streamline flow, the spacing between the streamlines is constant. One more here we can write spacing between two streamlines is constant. Now suppose if there is a car here, let us say this is a car which is floating in water, then what about these streamlines? So what happens to the streamline? This streamline will touch this one, will go back and it will change its direction, it will go like this. Even this one which is a striking the car will go back due to reflection. Here actually collision takes place between water molecule and a car, and it goes back and it changes direction and it will go like this, and this one will go like this. So here you might have seen this one, even this water will try to move because as these are very very close, so this water will collide with this one, this water will collide this one, and it will go. So this area, this is called turbulence. So you can see this turbulence in many cases. If you take a bridge, so if you take the pillar here, when the water is flowing from one place to another place, at the pillar you can see the water will change its direction. There the color of the water will change. So the color of the water is changing because the velocity is changing. So you can see some foam also in some cases, and then water flows as usual. So this turbulence is occurred because of the change in the velocity of the flow only. So the main difference between these two is velocity. So depending on the velocity, we can decide whether the given flow is streamlined flow or turbulent flow. So the velocity, which is known as critical velocity, will decide whether the given flow is streamlined flow or turbulent flow. In some books, this is also given as laminar flow. So what are the properties of laminar flow? So there you can see the orderly arrangement, orderly movement of fluid molecules will take place. The first point is the orderly movement of fluid particles takes place in the laminar flow. Second one, the velocity of a fluid particle is constant at a given point. That means if the fluid is flowing at a particular point, velocity is constant. Here it is given as 10 meter per second. So the next particle will cross this point with 10 meter per second, and the 14th particle will cross this point with 10 meter per second. 94th particle will cross this one with 10 meter per second. But whatever the velocity here, it may not be 10, because at a given point velocity is constant. If the point changes, the same molecule which is traveling here with 10 meter per second may cross this one with 16 meter per second. From point to point, the velocity may change, but you can see at a given point velocity never changes. That is second point. Third point, the streamlines are equidistant and parallel to each other. That we are denoting this as spacing between the two streamlines is constant. So this is nothing but the streamlines are equidistant and parallel to each other. So this is the third point. Streamlines are at equidistance and parallel to each other. So this is the third point. So please write these points. First point is orderly movement. Second point is velocity is constant. Third point is they are equidistant and parallel to each other. And the fourth point is streamlines in laminar flow or streamline flow never intersect with each other. Now you see this turbulent flow here, this fluid flow is in this direction, and one more streamline, if you connect all these molecules, and you will get a streamline like this. So here these are intersecting with each other, but this will not take place in a streamline flow or laminar flow. So what are the 4 points that can be written in case of a turbulent flow? First one, there is no orderly movement of fluid molecules or fluid flow in this turbulent flow. Second one, velocity is not constant at a given place. That means velocity changes from time to time at a given point. Here it will change. Third one, streamlines are not equidistant and parallel to each other. So they will have different structures, different arrangement, different areas in this one. And fourth one, streamlines intersect with each other in a turbulent flow. So what is this critical velocity? Velocity that decides whether the fluid flow is streamlined or turbulent is called critical velocity. So the velocity above which the flow of fluid becomes turbulent is called critical velocity. Here, if you consider a water pipe here of uniform cross section means from first end to second end. So here the cross sectional area is not changing for this pipe. Now in this, let us say some fluid is flowing, let us say water is flowing through this one. So water is flowing like this. If it is laminar flow, the order will not change. They will maintain the equispacing between them. So water is flowing like this. So this is a laminar flow. Here, if the area here is, let us say this area 0.2 meter square, let us say this area is also 0.2 meter square, the area of pressure somewhere here is also 0.2 meter square. Here from point 1 to point 2, anywhere, any cross section will have the same area which is equal to 0.2 meter square. So when the area is not changing, if area is constant, then the velocity of flow will not change. The velocity remains constant. V is also constant. But it is found that one quantity remains constant. Suppose if you change the area here, first let me explain that one, then I will come back. If you change the cross sectional area here, this is a pipe having different cross sections at different points. So this is the pipe, and the pipe is given like this. So this is the pipe having different cross sectional areas. So here, how this fluid will flow in this one? So we can draw like this. One is flowing like this, second one is going like this. It has to flow in the same pipe. So here one more pipe. But as it is, if you consider only the streamline flow here, what happens? Here the streamlines will move like this. But here we have to consider that one more point. They are not maintaining the equidistance from each other. So this may not be complete streamline flow or laminar flow. So it may be having some turbulence. That means here the streamlines are not parallel to each other. We cannot use here. It is streamlines are parallel to each other. This is a laminar flow. But what about this one? Here the velocity is changing from point to point, but at a given point velocity is constant. Even though it is not obeying that rule, but still we can say this is a streamline flow. Why? Because at a given point it will have the constant velocity. So let me take this point as 3, this point as 2, this point as 1. So at different points it has a different velocity, but at a given point it maintains that velocity. If it maintains that velocity, then we can say this is also laminar flow only. Now here velocity is changing. Here area of cross section A1, this is A2, this is A3, this is A4, velocity V4. Whenever the area changes, velocity will change, but at a given point velocity remains constant. That is the first fundamental rule for the laminar flow or streamline flow. Here what we are going to write: if you send 1 kg coconut oil through this one, if you get 1 kg coconut oil here, let us say I am sending 1 kg coconut oil for 1 minute. If I am able to collect 1 kg coconut oil in 1 minute, then we can say it is a laminar flow. Suppose in between, if some of the coconut stick to the surface of internal surface of the pipe, then if I pour 1 kg coconut oil in 1 minute, I may not get 1 kg, I may get 0.8 kg coconut oil per minute. That means the inlet is 1 kg per minute, but the outlet we can collect only 0.8. So that means if the liquid or the fluid is a viscous fluid, then we cannot apply this rule. So what is that rule? So to consider this one, to arrive at the final conclusion, first condition is this fluid must be non-viscous fluid. That means it should not stick to the walls of the pipe, the first point. So this one non-viscous fluid. Second one, irrotational fluid. You can see whirlpools when the velocity of the water changes. You can see whirlpools in this canals as well as in rivers. So here, if this fluid is flowing, you should maintain that path and there should not be any whirlpools like this. So this is a rotational fluid. You cannot apply the laws of fluid flow for these type of fluids which are rotational fluids. So that's why I have to consider only the irrotational fluids, non-viscous fluids, and the third one is incompressible fluid. So what is this incompressible? Generally, if you apply the tangential force on the solids, they can resist that tangential force. They will try to keep their shape intact. But here, if you apply the same tangential force on fluids, generally they will try to change their shape. But incompressible means that means we cannot compress it. So if you consider these fluids which are incompressible, generally incompressible means from point to point the velocity may change, the area may change, but the density remains constant for incompressible fluids. This you have to remember. Whenever density changes, they can be compressed easily. So now I am telling once again, the laws of fluid flow can be applied only for ideal fluids. So what are these ideal fluids? A fluid is said to be ideal if it is non-viscous, irrotational, as well as incompressible. So only for these type of fluids we can apply this laws of fluid flow. So in that first I am going to explain the principle of continuity or law of continuity. So what is this principle of continuity? So once again I am telling this principle of continuity can be applied only for an ideal fluid. So I am going to write for a non-viscous, irrotational, incompressible fluid. So instead of that I am just going to write for an ideal fluid, for an ideal fluid, the volume flow rate remains constant at any point. So for an ideal fluid, the volume flow rate remains constant. So what is this volume flow rate? So this volume flow rate is given by the volume of the liquid that can be collected per unit time is called volume flow rate. Here in this example, if I pour 1 kg ideal fluid, I am not talking about the coconut oil now. Coconut oil is viscous, but I am talking about non-viscous fluids. If I send 1 kg ideal fluid per minute, if I am able to collect exactly 1 kg fluid per minute at the outlet, then such type of fluid is called ideal fluid, because it is not having that viscous property and it is not rotating here. If it starts rotate here and within 1 minute we cannot get that much amount of the fluid on the other side, and it is incompressible. Suppose if rho is different, if changes, then the velocity slowly changes, it may go back or something. So that's why this is incompressible. So now this is the case in which we can write for a ideal fluid, the volume flow rate remains constant. That is, the volume of the fluid that is entering is equal to the volume of the fluid that is leaving. So from this what I am going to write here. Now let me take, this is a pipe and it is given like this area A1, this area A2. So what is the volume of the fluid that is entering in this pipe? The volume of the fluid that is entering is given by V1 and this is V2. So this principle of continuity states that the volume flow rate, that is V1 by T1 is equal V2 by T2 per unit time. Now what is this volume? How to find the volume? Here Generally, if you take the entry of this one, here fluid is flowing in the form of a cylinder. How to find the volume of this fluid flow? So this is area into distance traveled. So volume converted as area into distance traveled by T1 is equal to area into distance traveled by T2. So what is the distance traveled in a small interval of time here? This is L1 and here it is L2. So what is this length by time? We know that length by time is velocity. So we can write A1 V1 is equal to A2 V2. As the density is not changing, we can write that density is equal to mass by volume. So mass is equal to density into volume. So what is the volume entering here? V1. And what is volume leaving here? V2 per unit time means per 1 second. So as the volumes are equal, the mass of the liquid that is entering is equal to mass of the liquid that is leaving. Why? Because as the density is constant. Now what I am going to write, in place of mass, I can write rho 1 V1 is equal to rho 2 V2. As V1 is equal to V2, compulsory condition for this fluid is it should be having the same density at the entry as well as at the exit. So there should not be any difference in the density here. So density remains constant. So A1 V1 is equal to A2 V2. This is called law of continuity. Now in this, suppose if you consider a water tap here. So this is a water tap. From the water tap, let us say some fluid is flowing, some water is coming. So when the water is coming here, when the area of cross section is less, velocity will be more. As it comes down, here as the area increases, velocity will decrease. Similarly, if you want to give more velocity for the fluid that is coming out of a hose pipe, generally what we do, so this is the pipe in which the water is coming. If you press this mouth, so what we are going to do, here let us say the velocity of this liquid is 10 meter per second when the area of cross section is 1 meter square. Now, if you press this outlet of this water hose pipe here, that means we are going to decrease the area of cross section of hose pipe. Let us say this is made 1 meter square is made into half meter square. Then what happens to the velocity? Whenever area decreases, this velocity will increase. So now I am going to substitute this value. A1 is 1 meter square, velocity is 10 meter per second. When the area is reduced to half of the previous value, the velocity will become V2 is equal 20 meter per second.